The Ryan Divish experience. It's the Ryan Divish show. God, these shirts keep getting smaller if you're watching, but or his just arms are getting bigger. It's our MLB insider, Ryan Divish, brought to you by Chalet Bowl, Washington's oldest operating bowling alley, proudly serving the community since 1941. Located in Tacoma's historic Proctor District, they have been family-owned and operated for over 40 years, delivering top-notch customer service around the area. Check them out at chaletbowl.com to book your next reservation. Divish taking a sabbatical covering the Mariners. He is the head coach and head coach who is garnering the most attention in Montana as the travel ball coach of the year, leading the Havre North Stars. Currently, a 31-12-1 record. Man, what a juggernaut.
Yeah, I am not getting bigger. My shirts, I am getting bigger, but not in a good way. As you can tell by the size of the screen, my face is getting fatter every day. And part of the problem is like my girlfriend has food around a lot, and then my mom has food, and my mom has become like this expert in sourdough bread baking.
Oh, yeah.
And I just kill it. And then now she came up with this cheddar and jalapeno sourdough bread that is just like crack cocaine. So all I do is just eat toast with butter on it, and then sometimes I'll put like ham and cheese on there too. And then I'm just eating all the time.
When do I move in?
I know. I'm just eating all the time. So, and then, then you heard about the food at my 50th birthday party, the bacon fried rice and the egg rolls and all. Like my mom just doesn't stop. She's a Japanese lady and the world was meant for her to cook for it. And so I'm the one who has to eat all this stuff.
It's good. It's good for you. All right, we got a lot to cover. We got the home run derby, we got second half outlook, all-star game, yada, yada, all that kind of stuff. Hey, let me start with this. And, you can be like Adam Silver and not give me a real timeline. When are you expected back?
Like my official date is August 4th is when I have to come back. The only thing that would change that is if we were to finish in the top 2 in the state of Montana, and then we would go to the regional tournament in Idaho. And that would delay it by like 2 days or something like that.
Okay.
And so, I mean,
are you nervous? Are you nervous to come back?
Well, yeah. What if they go in the shitter when I come back? And then my boy Akita goes on Twitter and starts mocking me and saying I'm the reason why. I mean, and like it's not hard for a professional Twitter nuisance like Alex to go out and enrage the masses and the the unwashed miscreants that are on Twitter, the mouth breathers that inhabit Twitter, for him to go out there and get them to believe that it's somehow my fault.
Have you missed it? Parts of it?
I miss like being at the park with my friends. Like I miss like Alex Mayer of the Mariners and Adam Gresh, Jordan Stone. I miss those, Tim Hevley, because I've known those guys forever. And then Kramer and Jude. Like it's fun when you're at the park, or Bradham. I get my daily hug from Bradham and Angie. Just like the camaraderie we have, like while we stand there in a clubhouse and wait for people not to talk to us, is pretty good. So I miss that part. I don't miss like deadline writing. I don't miss the travel portion. And like I was watching All-Star Weekend and all the stuff that went down and just thinking of the stress level of having to write for that. Like Cal winning it was great, but then trying to do the moment justice and writing about it. And then like, he had to talk to everybody forever, so then you're waiting to talk to him. It's just, it would have been very stressful, like the Jewel event, like the All-Star game. I've done about 7 of them now. I was there when Aaron Judge won the home run derby and Giancarlo Stanton, apparently those are the only guys that count. But like, I was there for when those guys won it. I was there when, who won it in LA? Was it Soto or was it Vlad? I can't remember. I was there,
Vlad win it. Vlad won it right when it was here, correct? Yeah. And then Soto won it because that was the year that Julio, wasn't that Julio's rookie season?
I was there when Todd Frazier won it in Cincinnati when they first started doing that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the time thing. Yeah, I just don't like the stress level of that sometimes because you just want to make sure you do the moment justice. And somebody like Cal, who's so deserving, and then like all the storylines with Todd and with T, and then like, I mean, you know, I think the best part of that whole family thing was the back of Cal's jersey or Cal's mom's jersey where he signed it and said, "Thank you, Mom, I love you. Thank you for all the sacrifices you made for me." I mean, like, you know, shit like that. I mean, like, that would have been the tough part. But it was so, and like, I don't even know, like, if you're not watching it on TV too, a little bit, you don't see the interactions with T telling Cal, you know, you're on this, you know, good swing, you know, all that stuff. Go get this one, you know, and talking to the dad, all the interactions. I mean, I guess you could have listened on the monitor, but that was a huge part of it too. So it's pretty crazy.
But do you watch what like Cal Raleigh is specifically doing and knowing him and covering him for all these years and playing a position that you played in college as well, so you know how tough it is. Is there a slight, and I don't mean to use regret in a negative way. The regret is you just to witness it up close and personal. Is there a low professional regret? He's putting together this season that may go down as the greatest season in the history, you know, of catchers. Now you may see the back end of it, but to this date, is there just a little bit? You're like,
yeah, because
it'd be fun to be there.
Yeah, it would, because one, it's, you know, like me and him get BS every day, you know, like when I'm covering it. I mean, I'll text him randomly. He always texts back. Like I text him, I said, "Hey, you have to recreate that video if you win the home run derby. Like you have to recreate." He's like, "I'll think about it," you know. But like, no, I mean, that part you miss. Like you feel like you're missing out on seeing history almost, you know, being a part of it. And granted, I'll get to see the tail end of it. But like, you know, on the daily, it's like I covered Felix during his prime. And so it's just like you gain an appreciation for how good somebody is by going there every day and seeing that, you know. Or I remember like the first time I watched Adrian Beltre at spring training take ground balls, and it was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. They were hitting him rockets at him. And then come to find out later, he doesn't even wear a cup, you know. And so it's like, you know, seeing a part of history. I think for me, you know, like the whole FOMO, you know, that you feel like you're missing out on stuff. If I had taken the sabbatical and they'd went to the postseason and then I wasn't there to cover that, you know, like covering the postseason game and writing that game story about them finally clinching a playoff berth was one of the most, like, you know, I'd pre-written a lot of it, but like just you're trying to, it's stressful because you wanted to, like you said, do the moment justice. So yeah, not being there for this has been difficult but easy at the same time. Like,
And just what a moment for that family.
oh,
What a moment for
yeah.
him, and to sit there and anyone, kids, no kids, you can sit there and appreciate the moment that Todd Raleigh had with both of his kids.
Well, like he said, like every dad that's had a son that's thrown baseballs to him when they were a kid growing up. I mean, like this is the ultimate, you know. And like, and he is kind of, it is funny, you know, he is a college baseball coach and everything else, but he's got a lot of just simple dad qualities, you know. Stuff he says reminds me of like what my dad would say or whatever. And I think it must have been 2 years ago, maybe. We were in Atlanta and Cal had told me that he was going to watch T play in a game in one of those perfect game tournaments. And I said, "Is it all right if I go out there and watch and write something on it?" He goes, "Yeah, I don't," you know, Cal was like, I believe his words, "I don't give a shit. Yeah, whatever," you know, like, and so then I, you know, and then I talk with his dad for half hour, talk with the mom, you know, sit by the family, and they're all watching. There's cousins everywhere. And that kid is a unit, by the way. T. Raleigh is 6'4", size 15 feet, switch hitter. He dunked in an 8th grade basketball game this year, apparently, too.
He looks the part.
Yeah, I bet you that guy's Snapchat was blowing up after it. He's probably getting calls from girls he didn't even know like him.
I had a teenage daughter that was watching it with me, and she's like, "Who's that?"
Yeah, exactly. And so, Yeah, I mean, like, and I remember writing that story on T and Cal, just watching him interact and stuff, and like, it's genuine too. It's not like phony. There's nothing phony about that family. I mean, like, they are, I mean, it's just like they're the family down the street.
Right.
They're no different. I mean, like, they're the family down the street. You grew up being around, and like got kids running around everywhere. I mean, his two sisters are Division I college volleyball. Were Division I college volleyball players.
Hmm.
That, I mean, like, think about that. If you're Todd Raleigh Sr., you've watched a lot of travel ball and then travel volleyball with all the screaming. Oh my God, that guy is a saint.
He is a saint, because that travel volleyball, you're in one big warehouse with like 6 different courts going on all
Screaming
at once.
at once, and then they pay a lot of freaking money for travel volleyball. I don't know what it is. If it's the nets or the refs.
It's a lot more than baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gymnastics is the only. You manage to have kids that did the two most expensive sports. This side is skiing. Thank God they didn't do hockey though, because that's even more expensive. Then you got to get up at the butt crack of dawn and take them for ice time.
Yeah, that's right. You're up at like 4 a.m. to get up there, and then all the equipment, and all that. Yeah, they just You're right. You nailed it. They just come across as this like just everyday. I always hesitate to say perfect family, because no one's perfect, but they just this normal family, and he's just a normal guy. I think it was so represented in the whole All-Star weekend. I don't know if you watched it, but MLB Network does the red carpet, and I got it on the background, and I'm watching it, and everyone's coming. What are you wearing? Oh, Christian Dior. What? All this Gucci.
Cowboy boots.
Yeah, no, he was wearing dress shoes, but it was this. Did you see it? It was the most simple, but yet professional, like navy blue suit.
No, he was wearing it was just traditional. It was like the.
It's a nice suit.
I didn't get to see the part. I mean, I saw it, but I didn't get to hear all of it. Like, somebody should ask, like, how do you tailor your pants, dude? Because like that, because like I think Adam wrote one day that he has to wear like 40-inch waist because his ass is so big, like in his jeans, that like he has to have a 40-inch waist.
I'm sure he has to get his suits custom made.
Well, I know he does, but
buying off the rack at Men's Warehouse.
No, he's not going to freaking Nordy Rack to buy it. I mean, like, he's going.
But he just looked. It was simple, and it was just him. And then
it was classic. He had a classic look, like.
And then when they're doing the player introductions, I love this. I just love this about him. This is Cal Raleigh, and everyone's excited. They're waving, all excited, and they get to him and they announce the starters, and he's talking to must be the pitching coach, whoever it is, for the American League, and he's going over the scouting report.
Yeah,
and you can tell him, and he's locked in on the scouting report with the pitching coach, and the camera's on him as they introduce, and it's the big dumper Cal Raleigh. And it takes him a moment. I think the coach finally has to say, "Hey, you just got to announce. You got to wave." He's like, he does a real quick wave. Okay, back. How are we going to pitch to Acuna?
Yeah.
And then and even when they mic'd him up, and I laughed when they announced they're micing him up. I'm like, this is going to be.
Yeah, he's not going to focus. He's got the hardest
Joe
job
Davis,
in the world.
You're not going to get anything from him mic'd up. You're going to get nothing. And
I say to like Joe Davis, like, hey man, this guy's trying to catch 99. Like
he doesn't have to talking focus. To him. But and then he said a few words, and I just, not to make fun of him, but it was just making fun of the situation. If like out here we know who he is, I'm like, he's just not going to say anything.
No,
not at all. And it was classic Cal.
To, like, do stuff. Yeah, no, it was. How about Brian Wu's look, man? Like, he was straight out of Miami Vice. I was like, hey, Sonny Crockett, like, hey, they're doing a remake there.
That was a good look. Wu had a great look.
Pete Crow Armstrong's doing well for himself.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
He's like,
quite
I was
well.
like, because like, like, look, not to go like all Moneyball where guys have ugly girlfriends or whatever, no confidence, have ugly girlfriends. Like, those guys are all doing, if you look at most of those players, they're all doing really well for themselves. But like, Pete Crow Armstrong is like walking with somebody who's like straight out of Hollywood. Like, hey, I'm on this stuff,
How does he, for Cal, and his numbers, and this is why this is like the next few weeks are going to be hilarious, because people are just going to wait to see what he does offensively so they can pounce on hey, he shouldn't have done all this stuff in the All-Star game. He shouldn't have done the home run derby.
Yeah.
You know this. There's a group of people that are just
Oh,
waiting
yeah.
for him to fail. Now they have played part of this whole debate of whether or not it changes anything is that you play so many more games in the quote first half of the season than you do in the second half of the season. So obviously his numbers are going to dip because that's just the way it works. And there's no one's going to argue that he can keep up this pace. I do wonder if there's anyone that can. Is it him? What do they need to do, you think, just moving forward with him to make sure they don't tire him out and that he's ready and he's fit, for September as they continue to make this playoff push?
Well, I mean, I obviously still getting him the DH days, but getting him a full rest day where he doesn't play at all would be ideal. He won't want to do that. He will absolutely hate that on every level. So that's a problem. But I'm trying to look it up right now. To me, is like anybody who says that him doing the All-Star game and stuff, and that's affecting his performance. They wouldn't know their ass from a hole in their head. I mean, like, honestly, it's so stupid. Because so he's played in 94 games, and I'm trying to see how many he's caught in. Like, he does, like, this was he may have had to do the derby and swing a lot, but these were still days off for him. He wasn't going in at noon and doing, like, scouting reports and having, because he goes in early and gets all of his treatment. So he's caught 72 games of the 94. So you're telling me that, like, I don't know, the All-Star game of 3 days of media events and stuff like that is more difficult than catching 72 or 70 of 94 games starting there. He's played in 94 games. I mean, like, come on, running the bases, taking foul tips, all that stuff. Like, no, there's no, what do you really get from 3 days worth of rest? That, it's not like he's playing every day. He went out, he took some BP, he hit some, he played in the derby, he played 3 innings of the game or whatever it is. Like, this is, this is still a rest for him physically. Mentally, it might have been a little more draining because you're out doing stuff, but They still have today off, right? Tomorrow off. But knowing him, he'll probably go to T-Mobile and hit on Thursday, and then show up on Friday or whenever they fly out. He'll probably do work. I mean, I spent a whole day with him. I spent multiple days with him, following him around. This is a dude that arrives at spring training at 4:30 in the morning every day, and then doesn't leave till about 5 or 6 at night. So I think he understands what his body can and can't do. I mean, like, being around it and seeing how these guys prepare and all the stuff that goes into it, they're creatures of habit, and this is how their bodies are conditioned to do stuff, more than anything. Like, I know guys that sit there and say, like, they don't, like, during the All-Star break, they can't just not do something. They can't not do something baseball related because their bodies are so conditioned to it, and they don't like how it makes them feel.
Yeah. I mean, and it's hard because you've been doing it every day for months and months and months. And now you're like, am I going to sleep in? Am I sleeping in till noon, till 1, till 2? Yeah. Am I going to sit around and just eat a whole bag of chips and just get fat? I would like to do that. How the second half for them, though? I mean, it opens up right out of the chute with Houston 5 games out. I mean, I would assume, you're not going to win or lose it right here, but I think where they're at, what they have this tendency to do as a group, and they're coming off that great series sweep of Detroit, and on piggybacking after getting swept by New York, but everyone's kind of feeling good about it. And I think it even for fans, it kind of, it revitalizes you this All-Star break. Sometimes they'll come back and they'll lay an egg, and this is kind of one of those series where they just cannot lay an egg against Houston. I mean, got to sweep them, but 2 out of 3, they've got to just give the fans something to have to start this second half of the season right away.
I mean, like, win 2. I mean, don't get swept, and be competitive. Like, make them real games. And then one thing is like, they're coming back with all their pitchers kind of, they can line up their starters the way they want, and they'll have a rested bullpen. I mean, I think that's big too. I thought Brash, you were starting to see a little bit of signs of, hey man, they've had to use him a lot. And he could, of all the guys, he could use a little break, Yeah, I mean, like that's the division isn't out of the reach because they can thank the Guardians for sweeping the Astros. It kept them there, and they've kind of moved up some games. But the thing is like I've told people, is like it's hard to make up that many games quickly unless you play head to head. So they got 3. They can knock off 3 games if they take 3, but take two, knock it down a little bit, get it down to 3 or 4, because then that gets a little bit more dicey. Then you can play the we win today, you lose. It's like, well, when you're trying to make up 5 or 6, if Houston's even decent and they win half, that means you still got to win more. You got to win 3/4 to just keep making up games. Like if you're in a 10-game stretch and Houston wins 5 out of 10, that still means you got to win 7 out of 10 to only make up a couple games. I mean, that's hard to do in the big leagues. That's why I think people always sit there and say, but if you get it down to 2 or 3 games, then you can kind of play that game. Okay, we won today, they won today. It's a little bit different.
Trade deadline. It's fast approaching. A couple of weeks away, July 31st. We have seen as we sit here and record this on Wednesday. We've seen one deal post All-Star game already take place. Our good friend Adam Frazier has been acquired by the Kansas City Royals from the Pittsburgh Pirates for infielder Cam Devaney.
I mean, Frey's played for them the last couple of years, yep. And he's a good piece to have. Just good clubhouse guy too. Like he understands what they're trying to do. I don't know that they're. I mean, I've seen Kansas City. They're kind of disappointing in a lot of ways because coming off last year, I thought they'd be better. That whole Central is a weird division, though. What are they? They're 4.5 back of the wild card. Huh.
And that's the thing is you start. I mean, they don't feel like they're out of it. The Twins can't. There's no way the Twins feel that way, or the Angels. You mentioned the Royals, even the Guardians at 4.5. I mean, Baltimore, I think, would probably say, all right, 7.5, we're done. But I mean, you've got a number of teams who probably still think that they've got a shot at it, and so you got to sit there now. How long do you wait? And I wonder, do you strike on something early, or do you? And then how do you guard against? Well, maybe if we wait a week, maybe we can get someone even better. I mean, I think everyone's going to circle Arizona, where Arizona's at. I mean, I think everyone's. I mean, I bet you some people in the Mariners office who maybe want Suarez when he saw him get hit last night or looked like he got hit on the hand, probably freaking freaked out. And probably even Arizona was like, oh my God, please don't say he got hit on the hand. But I don't know, the Diamondbacks are 5.5 out. I mean, I don't think that they're waving the white flag this week as of yet.
No, that's the problem is like who is waving the white flag? Like, yeah, White Sox, who they got nobody you really want. They have a couple like infield pieces that wouldn't be bad, but nothing great. The A's, they're 11 out. Will they do a dance and trade some guys? Yeah, it's weird because like the Diamondbacks are 5.5 out now, and it's 3 teams to overcome. That's the other part. It's not just like how many games you're out, but it's how many teams you have to overcome. The Royals 4.5. They have 4 teams ahead of them to get to the third, so 5 essentially. It's one thing you have to look at. It isn't always just about the number of games, but it's the number of teams ahead of you. Because like we just said, the math says, these other teams aren't going to just tank it and crater, so you can overcome them easily. They're like obviously Baltimore has guys that tell me like Jordan Westberg wouldn't fit great in third base for the Mariners. Oh my God, everybody's been saying that forever. Suarez. I mean, supposedly Ryan McMahon of the Rockies is now available because he hasn't been very good. It's like I don't know that there's a time like. If you go early, you got to pay more in prospect costs, but then you could pay more because there's competition. I mean, like, you don't think the Yankees don't want to go out and get Suarez to play third? They're using, they got rid of LeMahieu, and they've got pieces, some spots. The weird part is like the National League with that. I mean, like, look at the Cardinals. They weren't even supposed to be good this year, and they're 1.5 games out. The Marlins are 7.5 somehow. I don't know. Like, you look at it, I think most teams will try and take it up to the very last minute And then, you saw that a couple years ago with the Diamondbacks and the Mariners with the Seawald trade. It's like it's the buy-sell trade, the one that pisses everybody off. We're both buyers and sellers at the deadline. Jerry's favorite thing to say. I mean, somebody was joking about, to me, like one of my buddies, like which player's coming back off the IL that feels like they'll say, oh, this is like a trade because we're getting so-and-so back after the IL.
Well, it was going to be Robles if it had come back in August.
Like, it could be Bryce now later because we'll get him back as a reliever. They can move him to the pen for the last couple of months, I mean, like, to me, they need a relief piece. And then, like, I don't love their first base situation, but it's so easy to find it's not easy to find a third baseman, but in terms of plug and play and just go get a guy that can play every day is like, go get a third baseman and put him in for Williamson. I love Williamson. I think he's been great. I think he's been rushed, but like, go get a guy, let him, let Williamson still continue to grow as a player. It was funny. I was thinking about it. Everybody's talking about Josh Naylor and how they want them. And I was like, the Mariners are still going to end up with like Nathaniel Lowe instead, because it's like, that's who's out there, because
I love Naylor.
Nats are trading guys. Probably Nathaniel Lowe will be out there, and it'll be like the runner up, it's like, you're not getting.
Do you think this will be the year? He's just never really, he being Dipoto, has never really gone all in with his prospects, his top guys.
Well, it's weird, is like, for whatever reason, he hasn't had to, because like the guys they've picked up, like with Tampa when they got a Rosarena, who I thought was probably the best hitter on the market, given how much he made, and the Rays aren't eating any money to get better prospects. They give up 3 guys, and they gave up a real guy like the one starting pitcher they gave up. He would have been contending. He would have been probably in the big leagues this year. And so it's like, they gave up real dudes. And then, like, even with the Castillo one, I thought was the most he's ever given up, where that was a total go for it, because they gave up Marte.
Yeah, that's fair.
Arroyo.
That's fair, because Marte
and Williamson were, they've given up some real dudes. It just hasn't, those guys haven't, I think in the situation they're in, where they were the guys they've acquired who have been major guys, they just haven't had to give up the Colt Emerson type.
No, but you're right about Marte. That's fair though, because Marte was considered.
He was top 5 prospect, or he's top 10 prospect in baseball, I believe.
Yeah. He was considered a very, very good prospect.
I mean, they have, like, you look at last year, somebody, because like I always joke, people are sit there and say, well, they just never go for it at the deadline. I go, well, no, they went and got a Rosarena, Justin Turner, and Yimi Garcia in one trade deadline. That was more than almost most teams made. They made 3 moves. Now they weren't.
I think they're talking about the headliner though, like a Devers type.
But I don't think the headliners guys are going to be there. Yeah. It's like they went after
like Acuna. If Acuna truly was available, that like.
Well, I mean, like, but they made offers for Juan Soto and Vlad. I mean, like, they called on Vlad. I talked to people in Toronto, so the Mariners just kept calling to say, we'll call, and then they weren't interested. The Soto one, I mean, what the Padres gave up for Soto, the Mariners just didn't have.
Yeah.
I mean, how good would James Wood look next to in that outfield next to Jackson Merrill and Fernando Tatis Jr. right now? Oh my God.
He's a monster. He's a beautiful looking baseball player.
So
what that guy is.
I think they're willing to go, and I think because they've built up enough depth in their organization, like, there's a lot of players that people like. You don't have to give up Colt Emerson, but taking the second best college catcher in the draft does make it a little less painful to trade Harry Ford.
Sure felt like the writing was on the wall with that.
What?
Sure felt like the writing was on the wall.
Well, I think they've always kind of known. They were willing, like, in talking with people from last year, they were willing to do it. But Harry didn't have as good of a year last year, and the value had kind of gone down. This year, the value's kicked back up. I mean, there are plenty of people looking around going, holy shit, you need catching. You need good catching, and they don't have it. So I'm curious to see where they, like, I always believed Harry Ford would move. But are you willing to move Logan Evans as part of a deal, or even Emerson Hancock for a major league player? Like, the Orioles need pitching. Like, would you include Emerson Hancock and Harry Ford in a deal that got you Jordan Westberg or somebody like that? You know, that Colin Cowser guy would be amazing, but they're not giving him up. But like, do you do that? You're going to have to give up a real piece to get Naylor for 2 months of Naylor, but you're not, you know, you're not having to give up Colt Emerson to do that. So it's like,
and then decide whether or not you're willing to pay him. So
I mean, but
if you wanted to,
that's the thing though, is like, if they're willing to give up the prospects to do it, then you know, in the end, that could be more costly than dollars. You know, like in the long run, like people sit there and say, well, like it's okay. Like to me, I look at it like you should criticize the Mariners ownership for not doing more in the offseason, so you're not in this point where you have to give up all your guys to get them. Like there were solutions out there, they didn't do it. But like now, you know, the go for it aspect is, well, we got to do everything it takes to win. But oh no, we don't want to give up, you know, Laz Montez, or we don't want to give up so and so. No, either you're trying to win or you're not trying to win. I mean, because if you recall, Pat Gillick wasn't afraid to get rid of anybody to win and try and win games. I mean,
that's why I think this deadline will be interesting to see what he does. Does he feel, you know, 10 years? Does he feel pressure? Does he feel like this is the time he's got to go out and make some type of move to?
Is he doing it to keep his job?
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be part of that. There's got to be that. There has to be that line of thinking.
The Babesi trade for Eric Bedard, trading Adam Jones and Chris Tillman, who ended up being, you know, tenured major league players at all-star level for a long time. You know, he did that because he felt like they were close and they needed to do that. And he was, you know, ostensibly knew he was on the hot seat. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. Jerry has just enough ego.
That's a word. I don't know if
he doesn't think that way, you know. I think he believes he's always right. Yeah. And so it's like, I don't think he, you know, and I think you want that. Don't you want that from your GM and a little bit as a little bit of ego and arrogance? I mean, for sure. You can feel it with Schneider. Hey, buddy. Hey, bro.
Yeah.
Give me that man. I'm just going to go find us a lineman that was once, you know, like.
Yeah, absolutely. You know who else is hot is the Havre North Stars, and they've got, as we record this on Wednesday, they are taking on the Lewiston Redbirds. Lewistown. Oh, what did I call it? Lewistown, the Redbirds. And then it's Saturday. We got the Royals, American Legion, and then the hated Medicine Hat Knights coming up on Sunday.
So it's senior night tonight here. It's our last home games.
Okay.
So I got 4 seniors. There's going to be tears. I didn't realize like they do all this pomp and circumstance now. Like when I was a senior, the coach was like, "Get the hell out of here," you know.
Do something nice for the guys, all right? Do something.
Yeah,
nice.
I won't yell at him for 2 innings.
There you go. That's fine. That's something nice.
So
they'll appreciate that. There he is, our MLB insider, Ryan Divish. Brought to you by Chalet Bowl. Check him out at chaletbowl.com. Book your next reservation. Experience the best in local fun. Good luck tonight. Good luck the final few games, and we'll chat next week.
Yeah, I was going to do my Jim Moore impersonation. Like, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But, you know, like, I just want to be retired, and I don't really want to work. But, you know, it's like I need money, and I want to live this lifestyle. But, you know, I don't know. Like, why do I do these things? It's like he's laying on a couch.
It's pretty much it. I think he just nailed it right there, sir.
I want to be him when I don't grow up.